Hello, you're welcome to another exciting episode of 3-Minute Convos with Ginika. And today I am extremely excited to have with me Chukwudi Theodore. Chuks, first of all, is my friend. So we'll start from there. Chuks is a friend, and I've always wanted to have this conversation with him because he has a lot to share, and I'll just take a moment to read his profile. But before I do that, just to remind you to subscribe to my channel. Very easy to do. You see the bell button on the screen. So just subscribe to 3-Minute Convos and get all the scoop from all my conversations, interviews, and educational content. So it promises to be a very enlightening, inspiring, and educative session today. So I hope you enjoy our conversation, right? All right, so let me read Chuks' profile. Chukwudi Theodore, that's Chuks, is a seasoned network and security solutions architect with 13 plus years of experience designing and implementing enterprise-grade technology systems. He specializes in scalable, secure, and high-performance network infrastructure across enterprise networks, security, wireless, and data center environments. Beyond technical execution, he is passionate about developing the next generation of tech talent. He actively partners with universities, private organizations, and government institutions to empower young people pursuing technology careers. His dedication to excellence and industry impact has earned him multiple recognitions, including Instructor Excellence Expert, Instructor Service Awards, Cisco Champion, Merited Program Ambassador for Cybersecurity, DevNet Associate Pioneer, Instructor 10-Year Excellence Service Award. He's a committed problem solver and knowledge sharer. Chukwudi champions digitization and inspires others to innovate and grow in the evolving tech landscape. Chuks, I'm really happy to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Ginika.
And I'm looking forward to, hearing from your wealth of experience and knowledge. But let's start from the beginning. I would like you to just give me like a summary of your, career journey so far.
My journey is very, very funny and rugged. I mean, funny in the sense that a lot of folks at that time did not believe in what I was seeing, which made it very interesting for me. First of all, I wanted to prove a point.
To who? Who did you want to prove a point to?
I wanted to prove a point to my dad, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The point that someone can succeed without going through a predefined path. So I grew up in the North and spent about 28 years in the North. And North is not a peculiar place where you have too many options. So you get out of secondary school, the next phase is university, and you get a job. But as a very little boy, I was very curious. So I was those kids that would want to see how things work. Mm-hmm. So the typical V8 set, video games, clocks in the house, little mobile phones. As at then, I wanted to really know how they work. So tear them down, put them back up. My dad would beat me, spank me, but there was some transformation going on, which I couldn't tell at that time until I started, going to cafes where I had to pay for maybe 15 minutes and now have to find a way to give myself more time. So the cafe attendant found out and said, okay, instead of me having to do that the illegal way, in quotes, why not he give me a job? Okay. So that was another level of, unlocking whatever skill I had, which I didn't know was a skill. So gradually that developed. I started having friends all over the world, in Malaysia, Dubai, Singapore. And one day something struck me, and how do I get to sit in Nigeria and I chat somebody in Singapore and they get it instantly? So it means something is happening behind the system. So I now wanted to know what was happening behind the system. And that was the beginning of my career.
Wow.
Yeah. So double down to the fact that I had to drop out of medicine. I mean, I walked out of the class on the first day.
It's interesting that you walked out from your medical class on the first day.
Yeah, it's interesting to me as well.
So where did you go to?
So I walked to, so first of all, I was wondering, okay, what next to do? Because definitely I didn't want to, because that was even out of frustration, because medicine was forced on me. Being the fact that I had to drop out even out of science class to art class in secondary school, but my father still insisted. So I had a friend who was very close to me, and he just thought that, because he was in the Cisco Academy, but it wasn't for him. So he felt like him introducing me to Cisco Academy would be for me. So he introduced me to Cisco Academy, and that was the end. Like, that was the spark.
Wow.
I was spending nights in the lab. I was sleeping in the lab.
So all that curiosity from your childhood, you just poured everything into...
I found my entire curiosity in the four walls of a lab, computer lab.
Fantastic.
So my whole life, for the next 3 years, was spent in that lab.
So that's how your journey began.
That's how my journey began.
Now, you know, when you hear of cybersecurity, people might not really, I know it's almost self-explanatory, cybersecurity.
Yeah.
But tell me more about what it means. What exactly is cybersecurity?
So I'll give you just, a very basic explanation. So we have law enforcement agencies, and it is when something go wrong that they will have to enforce, a certain kind of maybe punishment or regulation. But they don't have to wait until something go wrong. They have to be visible, right? Which means they are protecting, quote and unquote, something. So we use ourselves as an example. They are meant to protect us and keep us safe. So it means that we are data. So see yourself as data. And the bad guys will always want to come for data, right? And those who perpetrate bad threat actors or bad guys will always want to come for us. So these guys keep us safe, the police, the military. And let's relate that to cybersecurity,
yes.
Right? Companies, entities, even as individuals, you have something in quotes that they need. So people will always come for something that is important to you, to use against you, or to use it to, gain money or whatever reason somewhere. Cybersecurity in this case is you trying to keep something safe, because the internet already exists.
Yes.
Right? But something has to keep it safe. Something has to make sure that
to protect the people
exactly,
that use the internet.
That use the internet, that transact on the internet every day for whatever reason. So it's just a way of keeping the cyber safe space.
Yes.
Yeah, in general.
Okay. So now let's talk about how that relates to organizations today. Yeah. So I see from your explanation, there's the security in terms of for organizations and also for individuals.
Exactly.
So in the organization, for instance, how does that impact workflows? What would be the recommendations that you make? If you can kind of like summarize that, if you have an organization or if you're new, you just opened up your business and you're thinking, how do I protect myself from quote unquote the bad guys, right? What should people do? How does cybersecurity impact workflows? So
the first thing organizations miss that I want to see them do more in 2026 is awareness.
Yeah, that's where it starts actually.
It's one thing to have a car.
Yes.
And it's one thing to know how to actually utilize it. Not driving. You can be in the car, but you don't know what each button does. So it's not about companies getting tools in this case, because there'll be a lot of numerous tools out there. But organizations need to put in place proper trainings, digital awareness, to make sure that employees or, new employees are aware of how to utilize these tools and how to even report things when they see things.
And how to even know when things are going wrong.
When things go wrong, because it is in the knowing that you are able to help someone else.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So digital awareness is one. Training, they should be digitally aware. Then training is number two. I want to see companies do more cybersecurity awareness, tailored cybersecurity awareness trainings. I mean, coupled with the fact that remote work has come to stay.
We'll talk about that.
So companies should, invest more in training their staff, not just focused on IT, because many times I see companies just train their cybersecurity professionals, train their network engineers, train their, operations team, but they don't get to train people like HR. They don't get to train people like drivers. They don't get to train people like those maybe in facility management or even the staff, the general staff. So everybody should be carried along. Yeah.
Yes, because if everyone knows what to do, you're protected.
There'll be no weak link.
You don't want to have any weak link.
There'll be no weak link. Yes. Because why would the CEO be sending a link to the driver to click?
Exactly.
It's suspicious.
Yes.
And the driver might be the weak link without anybody knowing.
All right, that's fantastic. So, you talked about remote work, and you said it's here to stay. And you said it categorically.
Yes.
So how do you think the traditional ways of working, so for instance, 9 to 5, how would that change, especially when you think about how technology has disrupted the way we do things? Backstage we're talking about AI and all of that. So there's remote work, there's technology, there's artificial intelligence, all of that. How do you think it's going to affect the entire workspace?
There's no doubt that everything is buzzing at the same time, but let's take it one after the other.
Yes,
First of all, let's talk about remote work.
Yes.
So remote work has come to stay, and it's post-COVID, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Remote work has come to stay. But what will make it interesting for employees to return to the office? You have to reimagine the space. So don't make reimagine the space. Yeah, you have to reimagine the space. Yes. So let the space not be what it used to be before, right? So maybe more collaboration tools, more adaptive environment. So not like the traditional chairs we used to have. You can have sofas. You can have an interesting area where people just have to sit and lounge and work.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a table. Back in those days, we don't have tables that move up and down.
Yes, yes.
So I've gone to a few companies and I've seen them adopt that. So you have people standing while they work, right? Which is what they'll typically do in their own space when they are home. So bringing that experience into the workplace makes a lot of sense. Now let's talk about collaboration. More collaboration tools need to be in place. I don't necessarily need to be in front of my desk to have a meeting.
Of course.
Now I take meetings from my phone, I take meetings from my iPad. The only place I've not taken a meeting for is a spa, but I've taken a meeting in the barbing salon. So that's the power of collaboration, right? It couldn't, maybe if I need to do a presentation, I might maybe decide to move the meeting for 15 minutes, but I would take the initial meeting and plead with the customer that I move it for 15 minutes if it's convenient for them. So now we don't have to be rigid. So we have to be flexible. And one other thing that is important is it has created more time to bond with family.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So because, there's remote work, I mean, a couple of times I've seen when my niece was around, I've seen him just, dash into my space and he's crying and I have to carry him. And he brings light into the meeting.
Yes.
So, things like that get to enlighten your mood when remote work comes to stay.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So I think that's really instructive. What I mean is we need to reimagine things. It's almost like saying you're trying to design the experience.
Reinvent.
Yes.
So you are
the experience of an employee.
It. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now there's remote work. Now people can be in the office once in a while. How do you make that space adaptable so that they are able to bring in their best at
exactly.
work?
Yeah.
So let's talk about young professionals right now. What do they need to do to stay relevant? What kind of skills do they need to have? Especially with the current environment that we are in. You talked about remote working. We talked about the impact of technology, how technology impacts the way we work these days. So as a young professional, what should you be aware of? What should you be curious about?
First thing that resonates with me is critical thinking and problem solving. There's already a lot of problem in Africa. Yeah, where there's already a lot of problem in Nigeria. So how are we able to use technology to solve those problems? I mean, if you look back at as far back as 2015 to 2025, you would bear with me that our payment system has changed. It's very flexible.
Yes.
I mean, you can count how many times you held cash last year. Exactly. So which means there is a set of young people trying to solve a problem. right? Which they are actually actively solving. The next thing we need to look at now is the next generation. What are they looking to solve? Are they solving transportation? Are they solving water problems? Are they solving electricity? Are they solving healthcare? So there has to be that curiosity mindset in solving problems. And I mean, there's a lot going on in the tech space in terms of investing in solving problems. A lot of these guys that have made money outside the country, or in other countries like Dubai, the Middle East, America, Canada, are looking to invest in startups in Africa in solving problems. Young people need to plug into those programs, they should take programs like design thinking, because you already have like tech skill, or how do you use that tech skill to solve a problem? I'll give you an example.
Yeah, I was just about to ask for an example.
So I'm already solving a problem and I'll share it with you. You would also confirm with me that there is a gender gap in terms of balancing the tech space when it comes to women in engineering.
All right.
Exactly. So I co-founded a foundation with my colleague in the office.
Oh, great.
Her name is Abigail Jeffia.
Okay.
And what we're doing is we're training women who want to get into network engineering. So with that, they can find their path either in cybersecurity, they can find their path in maybe automation, they can find their path in data center, or even any of the fields they want to, collaboration, name it. But we're trying to use that NGO to bridge the gender gap,
Yes.
in engineering. And so far, we've been able to train like 150 girls.
150 girls?
Yeah, for free. And we've expanded to about 10 African countries.
That's amazing.
Without having physical presence in those countries.
That's amazing.
That's why I'm telling you
Yes.
that there is power in collaboration, right? Because these girls we trained, the first set of girls we trained, now became ambassadors in those countries.
And they are further training others?
And they are further training others. And they are now in a community where they have to give back. So that is one problem we're solving. So as a young person in Nigeria, you have to be patient.
Thinking, yes.
Exactly. You have to critically think about where I am now. What is the problem I can solve? So imagine you have, I don't want to blow my trumpet, but imagine you have 100 people right now thinking like Chuks and Abigail in different fields of life.
Across the continent.
Trying to solve one unique problem. I'm solving education using women in engineering. Somebody in healthcare is solving maybe something with childbirth or malaria.
Yes.
Another person in environment is solving, deforestation or, keeping our zoos clean or something else. So imagine just 100 people, just 100 unique, curious young people under 40 solving these problems. I mean, we'll make an impact.
When you talk about people lending their voice to situations, it's about, first of all, knowing what you can offer.
That's all.
And then you look around you, around your community, what are the problems that exist? How do I contribute? How do I help to solve those problems?
Instantly. And guess what? It would interest you to know that it is self-funded, and we just have people that, that look at us and say, you guys are doing something amazing.
Let me support you.
They don't even support. They'll tell me what you need. That's amazing. Like, it happened last year. It happened last 2 years. We had somebody just approach us and say, you know what, Chuks and Abigail, you guys are doing amazing. Tell me exactly what you need. And I was marveled.
So what do you call the foundation, or did you give it a name?
It's a net clan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Net
Well
clan.
done.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go back and continue the conversation around the skills. So you talked about critical thinking.
Yeah, I talked about critical thinking.
Problem solving, and you've given us a very good example.
Yeah, adaptive learning. So in the age of AI, you don't have to be rigid.
Yes.
Right? AI has access to tons of data, walks of life that people have, done and contributed to. So why not leverage on that, as a young entrepreneur or tech entrepreneur to solve a problem? I mean, let me take you back again. Back in the days, there was no delivery, system in Lagos. It was just maybe parcel or postman. But today you can sit in your house and order for something and it gets to you, right? Which means there are different layers of these problems that people have solved. And people are being able to adapt in a system where they have to unlearn and relearn, right? So in this our age of AI, I charge young people I want to see young people unlearn what they used to know, which that our system is kind of a traditional way of learning.
Yeah.
So young people should leverage on AI to learn more, invest more time in research, and that would make a good way.
Fantastic.
For young people. Yeah.
So I hope you guys got it. So he's talked about critical thinking, problem solving skills, adaptive learning. And I would say, Chuks, this is not just for young professionals. Even for people that are well into their careers, they should be thinking along these lines. You cannot just sit and keep watching. A lot is happening around us.
Yeah, there's one thing I wanted to add again.
Sure.
Now, in as much as we have all these skills, you're a fantastic person, but how do people see you? So brand management has to come there.
Yes.
Then self-confidence.
That's your personal branding.
Exactly, your personal branding.